Hi, everyone. Anthony here. Welcome back to Starlight and welcome to my story. I'm actually sitting in our new location, and this is the sunroom. This has just undergone a couple of little videos on both of my other two channels, for my aquascaping channel and then for our Anchored Home Lifestyle channel. And so I thought I would give you a little span so that you could see what I'm looking at for inspiration, and you also can see the backyard. So if you're interested in any of the terrariums or aquariums, they're a little harder to see because of the reflection, but this is my view. And what I'm going to do now is spin the camera around so you can see. Also, here's a little bit of the backyard. It is a work in progress. So let me put you on pause and get you. Okay. Okay, I think that'll do it. I had to get all comfortable. This is a new location for doing filming from. Oh, and a blue jay just flew up in the tree right next to me. Okay, so let's hope that's a good omen because they have white on their feathers, and I'm always on the lookout for white feathers. It's very interesting. This location, oh my gosh, they're just coming in like crazy right now. I was trying to stay on point. This location, the first time I viewed it in the backyard, I was walking around. This backyard is well overgrown. This is what I believe was at one time a very professional install. It's got French drains, it's got tiers, it's absolutely flawless, but has gone completely overgrown and wild for many, many years. It looks like they were only having the lawn taken care of, like mowed, but not doing any cleaning or anything like that. And so my first time walking up the hill in the back, there was a crow that landed by my side, and it walked with me. And I know the spiritual resonance of having a crow, and I know that crows are attributed to being one of the smartest of the bird family. So I was immediately drawn to it. The first morning that I got up early, I went out to the front yard, and this was like at 4 a.m. I was getting ready to start some chores early that morning. And as a flight attendant, I'm used to being up really, really early in the morning anyway. And a crow came down and made a really loud caw sound. And I said, "Good morning" to the crow. And as soon as I said good morning, two others flew right in immediately and all right there together. And I just thought it was beautiful. They all started talking. And so I just welcomed them all and said good morning. And so I'm always on the lookout for when the crows come out. Okay, so that's a side note. That's not the reason why we're having a video today. Excuse me. You know, I never know where the inspiration is going to come through for a video. You guys know that I took, I believe it was 2 full months off from doing any videos, and that wasn't because things weren't happening. It's just the opposite. Things really took into play. And at the filming of this, we're at the last part of the month in August. And starting 2 months ago, this would have been in June. At the end of June, and I spoke about my last video, I feel it's a massive disconnect. Not a dark night of the soul, not a crisis of faith, nothing like that I've already gone through. This was a separation from my guides. And I told you that I believe in that video that I really did, I don't hold any punches. I came out so strongly that I ended up releasing every single one of my guides. And then after a few days, when I felt like I wanted to talk again, I spoke directly to the universe. And in speaking to the universe, I acknowledge that that is the divine, and anyone who may also be in my spirit realm that is listening. But I didn't call anybody out because I'd already released them, and I was so frustrated with receiving hundreds of false visions of dreams, of waking dreams, of things that I thought were going to take place but never did take place. And I have learned through the process that we are continuously tested. Oh my God, I'm trying not to be distracted, but the blue jays are just gorgeous in the backyard right now. They moved from the tree now to the yard so I can see them. That is such synchronicity. And in my frustration with why did I have all these visions if none of them were coming to pass? Why was I still being tested? And I argued that if I'm really that being that cleared a karmic curse off my ancient ancestors' land and freed them up to receive the riches coming through, like should be coming through, why wasn't I being blessed in that way? Why was I still being plagued when all I've been doing is trying to manifest and manifest positive change in my own life? Now, I did manage, I know successfully, to heal the majority of my inner child because I'm in this property that I'm in right now. And this property is what I call living in my abundance. This is what the inner child saw for themselves when they were 12 years old. They saw a home like this. I know this home was handpicked for me because it has every single aspect I've ever wanted in a home, all in one, down to the landscaping. And I know the divine saved this property for me because I saw it right exactly at the time I could act on it. And so I know there are blessings happening behind the scenes that I have no idea how long it took in the makings to get this to happen. But I feel that along with maybe I was listening to too many channeled messages and going down the rabbit hole. And that's kind of what I want to focus on, is that I had a cleansing of all the channeled messages. I no longer listen to a general channeled message, even from the ones that I absolutely loved. Because I've said this before, we all cannot be Mr. or Mrs. Universe receiving the grand prize, the millions of dollars, the country home on a mountain with a lake or on the ocean, a kingdom spouse coming in that's wealthy and is going to be, the perfect person for you. And you know what I'm talking about. The accolades go on and on and on some channels about everything that's coming in for the collective. Because remember, it's a collective. That means there's millions of people out there that potentially are all looking for the same type of similar advice. And when you go into a collective reading, they're pulling information from the divine, but all that doesn't go to one person. You have to be able to discern, or as the conduit, you have to be able to get your message across that it's fully understood. And so some channels just make it sound like this is just going to jump in your lap. And that's not true. You have to do the work. You still have to, we never stop working on ourselves. We never stop evolving. We never stop doing shadow work. And that was never more evident for the entire month of July. I felt so out of sorts. I did not see aquascaping becoming the business it was supposed to be. I did not have a connection still to any of my guides. This went on for the entire month. And finally, at the beginning of this month, I sort of eased into something that I'm going to call easing into my intuition. And I'm going to tell you a story that I did once on working as a flight attendant. This was months and months ago. I challenged myself because I am an empath. I can read energy, especially when I see someone. I mean, I can get a visual. I was doing drink service, and we push those heavy carts with sodas on it, primarily sodas. And we make mixed drinks and all that other stuff too. But I challenged myself. When I would get to a row, my first passenger, I would glance before I said hello, put my hand on the can that I knew they were going to request, or I felt like they were going to request. My intuition told me, touch this. Out of 42 passengers, I guessed 42 drinks. And the two that I got incorrect, that's the drink they might have wanted, but they changed their mind. So I'm falling back on my strength, which is my intuition. And so I started just really, when I was doing this whole only talking to the universe, talking about how I felt, what inclinations I had, and what I determined my plan was going to be. So I stopped listening to all the channel messages, and I got it down to three channelers. One, of course, which will be no surprise, is Nordic Light Tarot. You guys know, I love her. It's not, you don't even see her face. It's her voice. It's her tone. It's her generosity and sincere approach that comes through in her voice for me as the receiving end. And she only does pick-a-cards. I think pick-a-cards resonate more for me because I am literally drawn to the pile I'm supposed to listen to. There's never any question. There may be a moment in the original thumbnail that I'm looking at as it flashes across my screen that I'm like drawn, oh, that. But then as I focus in, there's usually 4 choices. I'm like, no, it's this one. And it's always one, and then there's really no other. So she had one more than a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago now, that I felt like, and I wrote on her page, she was talking specifically to me. And I felt like it was a personal reading, and I was sitting right there with her, that she read what was on my heart, and she answered every one of my questions. One of the biggest things that came through on that reading is that there's still something I have not let go of, and I know what it is. And as soon as she said it, I knew what it was. But I didn't take that quite literally yet until a second reading that was with another channeler that she does short dailies, and she does them for the Cancer Collective. She had messages for the last 2 days that touched on the same subject. So when it came through with Nordic, that I knew exactly what I needed to get rid of, because what I was actually doing was blocking my own progress. By holding on to this idea, I was blocking my progress. By holding on to this idea, I wasn't able to manifest. That's where it hit me. I understood that words have actions, that words have intent. So the first thing I did on her previous message was I started replacing my, oh, that's not going to happen with that will happen, and I see it happening. So I started replacing those thoughts with positive affirmation. That's the first thing I did. Then when the second reading came through and she said, there's something you still haven't given up, and that came in to actually a third message as well on Tarot with Michelle, which I love and adore Michelle, because you see her face, you see her energy, it's all sincerity. You see her reaction when she looks at a card and she's getting a message. Love it. she talked about not giving up on something that I needed to get rid of. It was holding me back. So I've had 3 readings within the same week span, actually just days, that all talked about the same thing. And I knew exactly what it was. So you guys know, hopefully you're watching these videos in order. When I had my breakdown in my Jeep in Longview, Texas, I read the energy of the gentleman that owned the store next door to the auto place where I broke down. And when I read his energy, I knew he could be my kingdom spouse, specifically. And that was really weird. He saw me at 5-something in the morning. I had slept in the parking lot of their businesses, and it was 20 degrees outside, and I couldn't run my Jeep. I was freezing. He came over to check on me because he's in the business next to me, and he opens up at 6. The auto shop doesn't open until 8, and they're owned by the same family. So I'm technically parked in a space for the auto place. He walks over. He sees I'm awake. He's asked me, "Oh, you're okay?" I said, "Yes. I'm just waiting for the shop to open up." That's when I read his energy. He starts to take a step towards me, like he's going to come up to the Jeep. And I've got the door to my Jeep open to answer him anyway, as soon as I saw him come outside. He paused, he looked, he smiled, and he made like a little joke, like, "Oh, I do that too," referencing how I had the bed set up in the back seat of my Jeep. So I knew he changed his mind on something, and he converted it into a joke, and he turned back around and went to his business. And I didn't think much of it right then because I was focused on the fact of what I had just read. And I thought, this could be him, okay? It's no secret. I broke down literally twice during that night. Once trying to go to another shop, and it led me to this one. Second, because I was blocking an entrance from the highway, and I had to move, and it got me just far enough to be in front of the business, and that was no further. It died both times. And I said, "Okay, Divine, I get it, that I'm supposed to be here for a reason." And I joked about it, and I said, "You sacrificed my commander so that I could be my kingdom spouse, okay? But he knows someone who owns a car and body shop. Maybe he can fix it." And that it didn't stop there. I had visions. I had flashes of us together constantly, and just doing random things, but it was always fun or love or whatever. That lasted for 6 months. That happened to me in January, and now we're in August, and I've had no contact from him. But every time in a reading, when somebody would mention someone's coming forward, guess what would flash in my mind? You guessed it, his face. And I knew that that's what I was holding on to. I wasn't holding on to my husband, who will one day be my ex-husband. No. I have released him and blocked him so many times, it's not even funny. And moved twice since then. No, 3 times. I moved 3 times since then, since I left him. It's been like 3 years now. We have no contact. No, it's this dude in Longview. Now, if you guys will remember, I did make a trip through Longview a second time, and I drove into the city this time. Went by their shop, of course it was closed. And my intuition was so strong on that visit. It came back and it said directly to me while I was driving, "You don't want to live here." And I didn't. I didn't like the city. It didn't resonate with me at all. Couldn't imagine putting a business there. Couldn't imagine why they chose the location where they chose for their business, which was in one of the worst parts of town. And so I kind of just filed that in the back of my head. So there was my intuition telling me a month later that that is not where I'm meant to be. But that didn't stop my hard-headedness as to cementing him in my mind as what I saw as my kingdom spouse. So when Nordic brought this up and the other two readers brought this up, I did a very special conversation with the universe. And I acknowledged the fact that my intuition had said I was not going to live there. I have moved. I've set up a new home now here. I'm not moving. This is the home where I am launching Anchored Home Lifestyle, my newest YouTube channel. It's where I'm re-establishing and rebooting Aquascaping on the fly because I've got more space. And this is where I will continue my faith channel, my diary. And so there's no option for me to move. That's not going to happen. If somebody's going to move, it's going to have to be them. And in the process, I asked the universe to please take those images and that steadfast stickiness to him being my kingdom spouse, because I did not believe he was my kingdom spouse. I believe that I had manufactured that in my own brain and had hijacked maybe my visions somehow. I don't know. Maybe I can control my visions. I don't know that. If that's a thing, I don't know. But I released him from my realm, cut the cords, blocked. And again, I always do it to my husband and his family and any known or unknown entities out there. And I can always see when Archangel Michael does the cord cutting. He did something different this time. Those of you who haven't watched all the videos, I believe Archangel Michael and I are brothers in arms. I said from the day I woke up that I was a warrior on the ground. And I know that I signed up for this mission. I helped plan this mission. I signed up for this mission because it required a lifelong journey, and I knew that. The family I was adopted into was a family of naysayers, skeptics, untrustworthy. My parents never told any of their children any of their plans ever. We were not to be trusted. It was like that from day one, with me being brought into the family as their youngest and adopted. And the only thing that glued this family together was the fact that my dad was a really strong voice. My mom and my dad both were very independent people and butted heads constantly. But my dad loved horror films, and he used to drag us to the drive-in movies for horror films. And so a lot of my family is hooked on horror films as a result of that. But getting back to what Michael did, and the planning of this mission has failed before. I got through a channeled message months and months ago that my ancient ancestors were so proud that I did something that they were never able to do when they were alive, and when they tried to clear this karmic curse off the family. And I even took it a step further. I didn't just clear the curse and allow that to be alleviated. I healed the land myself through teleportation, and physically felt like I was standing on the land and healed it with the divine and Gaia. So much so that the land showed me it healed. And it was a beautiful experience, beautiful experience. Oh, my eye is itching. Sorry. So when I did this cord cutting, I don't know if Michael was trying to be, I think he was celebrating a little bit. he put a little more flair into how he cut the cords. And I think that was just a nod to me. And so when we did that cord cutting, it made a huge difference. I cannot tell you the difference it made. I didn't have an immediate connection still to anyone, and I still don't. What I do now is I still open up and I still talk primarily to the universe, and I do open it up for any guides that I know are out there that are assisting me that I don't know them. I do know that when I call on anyone specifically, it is still Michael, Divine, Gaia. And I do know that I am a Sirian. I don't hear from that family. I don't appear to get messages directly from ancestors, but my dreams have amped up with messages. And my animal spirits that have been sent to me in visions that I know are working with me is my emerald dragon, my Roe Deer, which is a beautiful white buck with white, kind of massive rack of antlers, and then dolphins. Those three specifically. Now, it's been called out, like my icon that I chose was a white phoenix. And if a white phoenix ever appears, then I'll know that a white phoenix is there for me. But those are the ones that I'm primarily speaking to now. And when I made this shift, when I did this last blocking with the universe, and I've done it twice, I did it to clarify the second time, to put more emphasis into what I was stating. And then when I understood, and it came out in this last message with Nordic about you could be blocking yourself and you needed to remove this along with the thoughts, because your thoughts have action. And so you can manifest all day long, but then if you say later on, oh, that's not going to happen, or why was I thinking I could do that? Or when you allow self-doubt to come in, you just killed it right there. You're sending the universe mixed signals. So you've got to focus on the signal that you want to be received. And so instead of asking, I state my intentions a lot differently now. I will say, okay, in order for me to be able to make this successful and to do these videos now, I need to work less hours, but I need to have more income. Giving up aquascaping as a business, I could see the financial implications of that. Having aquascaping as a business is quite expensive, but having sacred home lifestyle as a business is a lot less, because I'm only doing what I've been doing since I was 20 years old, taking a shoestring budget and repurposing a room, a feature, an addition, any type of work you're doing in your own space, in your own yard, to make it beautiful for you. And so therefore, I'm doing what comes to me naturally. This is not something I need to prep for. I just did a video about doubling the lighting in this very room. And I spent $60 total and doubled the capacity of my lighting to grow plants. And because I think I also might want to do seedlings. And my videos are that easy. So on the anchored home, I only have 2 little videos on there. Of course, they're not getting any views right now, but that's okay, because we all have to start from somewhere. Part of a blockage, though, has been coming in from an outside source. I just found out in my most recent pickup box. That's very different. Okay, so pick a box with Nordic was just as amazing as a pick a card. The boxes were all three, I think it was three round boxes with lids, and they were wooden. So that resonated with me because it was wood. And there were these round cards, 2 round cards that she didn't know what they were inside each box. And then each box also then had some type of quartz and 1 tarot deck cover card that you could see the artwork. So when I saw the artwork, I knew immediately which one to go for. And it was spot on again. Spot on. And it delved into stating your intentions, following your intuition and your intuition only, and controlling the narrative as much as you can as far as remaining positive, guarding yourself from others that may try to take something from you that's not allowed. So establishing your boundaries and standing your ground and turning your back on those and cutting that cord between you and others that may want to do you harm. So in that reading, it did come out that my group was being blocked. Blocked on purpose, blocked because somebody was really pissed. Of course, I knew exactly who it was. It's no secret that my husband is pissed at me because I'm the one who left. He no longer has access to my bank account, and I was always his 3rd, 4th, or 5th option. And so now, because he and I were a twin flame, and he's what I have coined a fallen twin flame. He never showed up for the mission from day one. If I tell you this is going to make it sound like, it does sound like a soap opera. It sounds like a gay soap opera. Just going to admit that. The person I dated briefly was not the person I married. That was a mask. The person I married denied all his feelings for me. He denied his spirituality, and the root of it was his family and his mother specifically. And I accused him or his mother before of hiring someone to influence me, to keep me attached to them. And this was a couple of years ago when I started saying that. I knew, right when I first woke up spiritually, I knew something had been happening to me because I was not living my authentic life. And that's whenever I left to strike out on my own and to get away from him. And that started the changes that are still taking place as of today. So when I say in this mission, it was a lifelong, very difficult mission. We're only given the difficulties that we need to become the person we're supposed to be in the end. So your changes don't stop. So you can't say, oh, by this age, I'll be fine. I can manifest. Everything's glory. No, you still have issues to go through. It is not going to be like, it's not the yellow brick road. Because look what happened in the yellow brick road. Yellow brick road, we found out that there was a man behind a machine pulling the triggers and making things happen for their own benefit. No, you got to uncover the Oz and you got to work through it yourself. So the reason why I say it's a lifelong mission is this goes back to, I was an abandoned orphan, adopted at the age of 5, took 5 years to adopt me because the birth mother was trying to extort money. My birth father knows about me and chose to hid it. And no one has ever been able to help me to at least get medical information that might help my health issues that I have. And there's, a half a dozen or more half siblings I have out there because of it. But it went from that, then me being gay, at 5 years old talking to God and told to stop. So everything that was beautiful for that child was pushed down with the family I was raised in. You didn't do that. You didn't say that. You didn't act that way. and then being bullied. And once being bullied, going into relationships, long-term relationships, to where I wasn't receiving what my worth was. I was receiving less than because I'd had a life of less than. So it is not easy to change your path like that, to go from everyone being against you, even your own family being jealous of you, or your own family that wants to watch you fall or fail, but still trying to get up and to be your best person. So early on, I blocked family members, my best friend, two of my best friends, my husband, and then the list, just whoever I want to add in there later, comes and goes, because I've learned how to protect my energy. But I'm at the point now where I can admire where I came from, because I know I needed that education to give it to you today. And that hopefully this helps someone that's struggling along their path. That you don't have to take less than. You don't have to compromise on things that, is your God-given birthright. We're not made here to conform. We are made here to be individuals, to express our individuality, to live the life we choose to live, and to live in the light. So I hope all this makes sense. Where I'm at now, though, is I am down to Nordic only. I know, she's that good. And I comment on every video that I watch. Every video resonates. Every pick a card that I watch from on her website. She always tells the synopsis at the end. I am always the group that is the most protected by the divine, angelic, starseeds, earth angels. A lot of times she says, we'll say, not prophet, but psychic. She'll say psychic. I don't think I'm psychic. I've never done anything where I projected anything. But I have really taken to my new tarot deck. And it's a deck of the crows. And the artwork is absolutely beautiful. And I had a question about aquascaping, honestly. I was really depressed because I've lost all my shrimp except, I believe, one female in one tank and then another shrimp in another tank. And the female, I caught her like 3 or 4 days ago releasing eggs. I thought she was giving birth, and I got so excited. No, she was not giving birth. Shrimp are born live and they swim. Everything she pushed out fell down to the ground. And I did research online, and it looks like she either released the eggs early, like new moms sometimes do when it's their first time, or they weren't fertilized and she knew it, or there was a fungus or something happened, or they weren't getting enough air, because I never saw her aerating, like they aerate under their body for the eggs. I never saw her aerating before then. So she released them. And I can't find the male in there. I was cleaning out the tanks I just showed you on camera, got them all set up, and then I was doing some in the fish room. In the fish room, I have the Trinity series. Specifically in the Trinity series, I have a tank called Garden of Eden. In Garden of Eden, I got it down to about half of the water that was in there, and I was cleaning out an aggressive plant that I wanted to remove and trimming all the tanks in that series. I looked down to my amazement, and there's one of my original blue shrimp that's born from the same shrimp she was born from in my other tank. I quickly snatched that shrimp, I think it's a male, and put it into her build. And I sat there and I said, I may have just pulled Adam out of Garden of Eden to place it in the build that's called Tree of Life, where I have a female. So if they're able to successfully survive and mate, this may be the restart that I want in my tanks to be breeding my own shrimp. I tell you this story because I want to be known as a Neocaridina shrimp guy. I want to be able to breed my own shrimp and experiment. And so as a fluke, I had ordered some Blue Dream, and they're kind of like a medium colored blue. Well, they bore what I called zebras. Clear with black markings, but they're not really black. They're actually dark, dark, dark blue. And then the same parent gave birth to what I called ruby red spotted, which are pale blue with a spot of red. What's in that tank now is I believe, a male with a red spot on a blue body, and she is now so covered in the darkness, she looks black, but she's not. And you can see her underbelly is clear. So, and she used to be clear in other parts, but as she's grown into, she's not mature yet, she's still a juvenile, but her colors are changing. So I sat back and I gave thanks for that I found a replacement for the man that had died before. And it was ironic that it came out of Garden of Eden, which had a male left. So when something like that happens, I know is not by accident. It's the divine, because I had asked the tarot that morning, would I have success with the shrimp breeding? And I pulled one card only, and it was all about new beginnings. And I was like, okay, I got my answer. So I'm trying to rely more on, and I told you guys in the last video that I have 2 more nieces that can immediately took to the tarot. I mean, where they could feel the energy of the cards, like I feel tree energy. They feel tree energy as well, but they could feel the energy of the cards. And I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. And I sometimes think that I don't feel the energy of the cards, but it's never a miss for me. Whether it's someone that I'm helping that's asking a question and I'm doing a reading, I always pull the right card. No matter how I change it up on purpose to make sure that, hey, sometimes I span it out. Sometimes I flip over the first card. Sometimes I come from the middle of the deck. I change it every single time just to test myself. And I always pull the right one. So I guess I have to claim that. And I really resonate with this deck because of the crows in my backyard and the fact that the artwork was so beautiful. It just spoke to me that I saw online. And when I saw it in person, it was even more beautiful. I just had to look at one card. I was like, oh, this is me. I'm getting this. I'm done. This is it. So there's a sense of, I'm going to say, freedom in being not attached to watching so many messages and getting hyped up and getting like, oh my God, this is going to happen. And then ultimately disappointed because it doesn't happen. So that I appreciate. I appreciate that my intuition has kicked up higher so that now I can sort of self-reflect and work out an issue on my own and try to see, what am I learning this for? What's the benefit this is going to be? And I think that's the overall 2 biggest, and still trying to remain, positive. So just recently I've done 2 aquascaping videos, and I did one for the home channel, and now I'm doing yours to get you kind of caught up on just it's still rapid succession of information coming through. Last night, the reason why I decided to do a video today is last night I had a series of dreams where I'm with someone in a dream. Don't know what they look like. I just remember the energy of the dream. I remember the energy that I'm with someone, I'm in a new job, and I'm loving it. So I don't know what is planned out there, but I know these are messages coming forward. And I have a horrible memory, but I do remember a new person and a new job, and I was loving it. And I woke up halfway. I always try to focus right then, and then I fell back asleep and picked right back up on the message again. So I know that my guides are coming through. And I stated in my last, okay, now I know they're with me because now they keep tickling my nose. In my last meditation I did, I said specifically, if you need to get a message, make sure it's Nordic, because she's the only one I'm listening to right now with any regularity. Because now when I see them, I might listen for a couple of minutes and I was like, doesn't resonate, get out of it. I'll know it right away. There are some of my favorites that just have too much drama in them. There are some that I believe try to sensationalize the video through misleading thumbnail titles. You know what I mean if you watch those. But I hope this resonates with you. I hope you find this helpful. To me, it feels like I'm just settling into self and trying to be the best version of myself I can be at this stage. If someone comes in, they come in. It's not going to change what I'm doing. I am dedicated on my path right now. I want a different job. I want to work my channels, and I want time to work in my yard. It's that simple. I want to enjoy myself, and I want to travel. And when I say travel, I don't mean travel for work. I mean, I want to be able to travel and see ancient archaeological sites and have the money to do that, because that's not cheap. So anyway, that's my plug for that out there, universe. So thanks for watching the video. Of course, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to drop me a line. But this video is here because I felt called to do a series about my progression through my spirituality. And it has been an evolving story. So you guys take care, and I'll see you on the next video update. Cheers and have a great day. Bye-bye.